Hello and welcome to EG World of Words. I want to read you part 2, the next part in New Life Cottage. In part 1, we met the cottage, its place in Scotland. We met the 3 women that lived there occasionally and spent their time, Natalie, Gabby and Samantha. In part 2, we're going to follow Nat, Gabby and Samantha back to their other lives, their real lives, and get a little bit more of a feeling of what they do when they're not at the cottage and together with each other. I like it when you go to that house. It's not a house, it's a cottage. Okay, whatever, but I like it. Sam rolled away from Big John. Yeah, she mumbled, wanting to sleep. Yeah, I like it. You're so different when you come back. Sam did not answer. This was her first night back after spending almost a week at the cottage. She had taken the train back to London. Though she had been completely at ease and relaxed up at the cottage, now that she was back, she became engrossed in her work the moment she stepped into the house. Dirty clothes lay all over the place. Dirty dishes had piled up in the sink. John had blamed the kids, but he had been at the house too. It was not just the kids. The kids were old enough to help, but neither of them had made an effort, even though they knew that she was expected back. So Sam had cleaned and tidied as always. The kids had watched TV and done their homework. She had cooked dinner. John got back from work. They ate together as a family. TV and video games followed, then a long hot shower and an early night. Once the kids had been tucked away, John had followed her. The moment he had laid down next to her, she knew what he wanted. He was her husband. He looked after her. Every so often she needed to do what he wanted just to please him. It was as easy as that. And while she had ridden him like a horse waiting for his release, she had smiled happily, her thoughts returning to the cottage and to the events they were planning. Did you speak to Natalie? Sam realized that he would not let her sleep. Exasperated, she turned onto her back and sat up. Of course I spoke to her. How can I not speak to her? It's her and Gabby and nobody else that is up there. What do you mean, did I speak to her? No, I mean, did you, speak to her about your problem? John tried to make himself as small as he could. He loved his wife more than he would ever be able to express, and her issues weighed heavily on his mind. At that moment he was not sure whether she was angry or just tired of his asking. Oh, that. Yeah, that. Sam averted her eyes and stared towards the window. No, I didn't. The time was not right, okay? I will talk to her next time I see her. Look, But Sam had turned away from him again, hugging the covers up to her chin and over her ears. I said that I would talk to her next time I see her. Sam, leave me alone. Reluctantly he rolled onto his back, folded his arms behind his head and stared at the ceiling. I just want you to enjoy, and maybe Natalie can help. She's real good about this kind of stuff, that's all. His wife did not answer. John knew that she was not asleep yet, knew that she was listening, knew that she did not want to talk, not about this, not about anything. His hand touched her long hair, twirled a curl around his finger. I love you, he whispered. Feeling his hand stroke down on her back, she turned into his arms. Their lips found each other. Their touch sparked him off again. Being the good wife she was, Sam did her job. Walking from the train station to the basement apartment had taken longer than usual. Gabby's feet hurt. The rucksack had gotten heavy too. She had not really wanted to come back, and yet she had to. From street level, she couldn't tell whether her mum was home. With as little noise as possible, Gabby unlocked the front door. No letters stuck in the mailbox, so someone was home. The air at the bottom of the stair chilled her. She listened intently, but no sound came from within. She set her rucksack on the bottom step and carefully unlocked the door to the apartment she had shared with her mum for the past 10 years. Mum? Still nothing. A little louder she called again. Mum, I'm home. Quickly she stepped into the lounge, dragged her rucksack inside behind her and walked into her room. On the bed, fast asleep, her mum lay curled up. Gabby stepped closer and gently touched the older woman's face. Helga's eyes opened. Startled, she sat up. Oh, it's you. Hi, Mum, I'm home. Helga rubbed her eyes, trying to get to her feet. I'm sorry I slept in your bed, but it felt so comfortable. Gabby took her mum's hand and pulled her aside so both could sit against the wall. Legs pulled in, a blanket spread across their laps. The scene reminded her of the cottage, how she would have liked to have stayed there. Never mind, I'm back now. If you like, you can sleep here tonight. I can sleep on your couch. Stifling a yawn, Helga agreed. Maybe. It sure is comfortable. For a moment they sat in silence. Then the daughter took the mother's hand and slowly caressed the wrinkled skin. Her fingers touched to each of the many age spots. How are you doing? She whispered. Her mother's eyes watered up, and when they overspilled, she readily let the tears fall without holding back. So. It's difficult. He was my son, you know. Understandingly, they squeezed hands. Gabby waited for her mother to continue. You know how difficult it has been since the divorce. Just talking to your brother has been very awkward. He didn't like some of the decisions I made or your father made. You know I hardly spoke to him, and yet when a mother loses a child, it is always tragic. It's like a piece of yourself gets torn away from you. Your heart gets ripped right out. Helga's last words drowned in her sobs. She buried her head in the duvet, Gabby stroking her hair and back to console and comfort. I am so sorry. Slowly her mother's sobs ebbed away. She lay there, not stirring, tears and snot running into the duvet silently. I am so glad that I went to the cottage. It made me understand. It helped me to see why I feel like I feel. I am okay now. When Helga looked at her properly for the first time since her return, Gabby continued. I feel sorry for the little one. He lost his dad. I lost my brother. But I lost him a long time ago. Don't ask me to grieve for him now. I grieved for a long time, but not any longer. Maybe I should have come to the cottage with you. You always seem so much more relaxed when you get back. Maybe I would have found some answers there too. What do you think? Knowing what her mother would have learned at the cottage, Gabby needed a lot of control to just nod. Maybe next time I'll ask the others if I can bring you. It usually is just the three of us. Gabby knew that her mother would not be welcomed. The cottage and what they shared there was for a few select only. Her mother was not one of them. How did the funeral go? Again her mother's eyes misted. Nice. Not a lot of people there. Sandra, the baby, your dad, me, the pastor, a few guys from the hospital where your brother worked. It was not a long service. Somehow there just was not much to say. The flowers were nice. Good. Gabby went to make tea in the small kitchen. A nice cup of hot herbal tea with honey would make her mother feel better. How is Sandra? Her mother sniffled. What do you expect? She just lost her husband. Thankfully the baby is still a little too small to understand. He just knows that Daddy is not coming home, but that's all. He does not understand much more. He sees his mum upset and he cries, but he does not know why. He does it because she does it. The mugs were in the sink. Gabby rinsed them under the cold tap, and then dried them with a clean kitchen towel. How will Sandra get on? Will she have to go back to work? You know, that is one decent thing that happened while you were away. There is a life insurance policy that will be paid out. She can survive off their savings till she gets that money. She will be getting enough so she won't have to get back to work for a while. That policy will pay her bills and the mortgage till she is ready. Probably for a year or so, and then the baby can go to kindergarten. Wow, that is good news. I didn't know he had a policy like that. Kind of nice of him to think of his wife and kid that way, huh? Helga agreed. The fatal accident of her oldest child had been a bad nightmare for the whole family. The tragedy itself had been so stupid, so avoidable, but there it was. Hubert was dead, leaving Sandra and their 2-year-old son. Sandra had given up her work in the bank to be with the baby, to see his every step, and now he was the only living thing to remind her of her husband. Oh, Hubert! Again Helga began to sob. She locked herself into the bathroom to cry. She did not want Gabby to see any more of her tears. She knew that Gabby was not grieving in the same way. Gabby had been through so much. Her parents' divorce, the mental anguish, the unemployment. Since she had returned from college, she had lived here with her mom all the time, trying to get over the nightmares of her past. She had barely coped. Gabby had suffered enough pain. She did not have to share her pain now. The sadness and lonely emptiness was hers to bear alone. With difficulty, Helga controlled her tears and stepped out of the bathroom. In the dining area, Gabi had arranged the steaming mugs and a plate with a few cookies from a tin. Helga added napkins and they sat down together. So tell me about your stay at the cottage. Gabi giggled. What would you like to know? Dunking a cookie, Helga stopped. I don't know. Just tell me what it is like. So Gabi did. She told her mom about the days walking the beach, painting watercolors together in the cold outside. She told about the changes the girls had made inside, painting walls and fixing dripping bathroom taps. She told about the fire and the evening spent playing Scrabble and drinking wine. She left out nothing but the most important activity the girls shared together. Silence weighed upon the house. Natalie closed and locked the door from the inside, picked up the mail that lay by the front door, and then slowly walked up the stairs to the living area. Dust hung in the air. She could see motes in the sunbeams that filtered through the blinds. For a week, nobody had been here, and the place already had an empty feel. The silence pressed in on her, and she turned on the radio for company. She glanced at the letters, then flung them onto the coffee table. Impatiently, she flipped her tennis shoes off, dug her toes deep into the soft rug that lay in front of the stereo system. Her mother's orchids bloomed and thrived in the old window. She would call the nursery to have them taken away. She did not know how to treat these gregarious plants and did not want to see them die. Boxes were everywhere. Now that she was back, she could continue the tidy-up. The next items for sale on eBay were already laid out. She had to add a few more to make it worth her while and to cut a dent into the amount of stuff her parents had amassed. For a moment she quietly stood and looked around. Where to start? What to do next? For years she had urged her mother to stop spending on porcelain dolls and china plates. Natalie had wondered why her mother insisted on buying this plunder when the fridge was so empty. When her mother was broke, Natalie had suggested selling off some of these items on eBay, but her mother had always insisted that one day she would inherit all of it and could see to the sale of the estate. Now Natalie was making a mint on eBay. It would take maybe another year to work through all these bits and pieces. She would be glad for Gabi's company. An especially tacky doll grinned childishly at her, podgy arms stretched out, blonde curls now dusty and grey. Her mind shifted back and forth, drawing up a list of tasks. Another fatal accident. This one had happened almost 6 months ago, and it had taken her 3 months to organize her life before she was able to get to the house her mother had shared with her third husband. An only child, she had to sort what was left, to rake through piles of paperwork, to engage in discussions at the bank and elsewhere. Her mother and her husband had been so popular. Half the letters in the pile concerned them, former colleagues, pupils, parents, friends, all wanted to tell Natalie how much they missed her parents, retired teachers, both of them, and what a tragic loss it had been. So carefully, Natalie opened each and every card and letter, put the money and checks to one side, and in the evening, sitting in bed with a last glass of water, she read them all. Some made her cry. Most made Natalie wonder who these strangers were writing about, these kind, friendly, helpful people, so wretchedly lost in a road accident bore no resemblance to the people she remembered. A cantankerous old man who was at odds with the world and everything in it, and a mother who had made her only child suffer in the most horrendous ways. Natalie cringed and felt wretched for her memories. And at night, when the bad dreams returned, she thrashed about in bed and woke up screaming, drenched in sweat, feeling sorry for herself, crying for the hurt and the lost past that was hers. Thanks for listening. Bye.